Hi everyone. This is another topical issue, and I'm going to talk about empathy. Empathy is having a mirror reflection of some other person's or some other being's feelings. Like when they feel pain, it is like it's reflected to you. You sort of feel like you are feeling the same pain. When something is happening to that person, you feel like it's happening to you. That mostly happens, and that's why you find in some movies when you're watching, or some drama where people are acting. It's not a reality. But out of that situation and your reflection and the mirroring of what you are seeing, some people end up crying. And when it is satire, you end up laughing, because what is happening there reflects directly to you. It's different from sympathy. Sympathy is where you feel sad for something that has happened continuously. Maybe somebody has done and you're feeling that sadness for that particular person. Mercy, sort of. But empathy is a direct mirror reflection. When we were young, we were told that human beings were made with a soul so they can empathize. But that time we were being told that animals act on instincts alone. Later, as I kept observing the animal, because I had pets, I had a dog, there was a time I had a cat, there was a time I had a caged bird, I realized, especially from the dog, that there are times when they had those feelings, they would empathize. It was strange. Then there was a time now when I started working, because I've been involved in many things. I started doing dairy farming. And I came to realize there was a cow I had. There are times when you gave it certain food, it would become very sad. And when you do certain things that were good, or good things were happening within, you will find it responding to that situation. It started giving me an idea that also animals can empathize. There is this story of an Australian man who got paralyzed and there was no water. The dog, seeing the problems he was in, took a towel, with its paws turned the tap, soaked the towel, and it was bringing water to this man. It would bring a wet towel and this man would suck on the towel for about a day or 2 days. When people came, they realized that it was this dog's help that had kept that man moving the way he was in that state, because it kept him watered. There was another story again that I read about something that was really happening. That one, somebody had documented in America. A crow would move to another place, and there was a kitten that somebody had neglected. And that crow would go and look for food and take it to the kitten. What goes on our mind when we see such activity? A bird looking for food to take to a mammal, a kitten. We go to the Bible, and when the prophet Elisha had fled from his nemesis, he went and stayed by the brook, and a crow would carry meat and bread on a daily basis. Could not consume, take it to Elisha. There have been situations where there was also a story, I think it happened in Kenya, where a dog went, I think somebody had aborted an illegal abortion and thrown a small infant in some place, and the dog went and carried that infant without doing anything up to the doorstep of the owner and started barking. When the owner opened, there was a small child, an infant, crying out there. So this thing has kept me wondering psychologically, do we have some things that we share with animals, but because of our prejudice, we feel that we are the only ones who own those feelings? I looked at the internet today and realized that psychological studies had shown that cats, dogs, and mice are able to empathize. I'm going to give you a story of what happened in Kenya. There is a picture that was taken on 7th, that is of January, the year 2003, in a national reserve called Samburu National Reserve. Tourists came to the to the national reserve, and it's a big reserve. Samburu is big. And they were moving around, and they saw a lioness moving around with something that looked like a cub. And on closer observation, they realized it was not a cub. It was a baby antelope, an oryx. And when they went, they alerted those who were there and those who deal with the game department. And they came and they realized that this was a lion with an oryx. And you know, lions eat antelopes, and they love eating baby antelopes. So this lion was starving, but it was protecting this baby oryx. The first one went like that, and there was a time when people thought it would take care of it, and then a strange lion came and attacked the oryx and ate. But it went and adopted another oryx. So the game department people darted the oryx and saved it. But what I've been asking myself is, what brings in this reflection in that a lion, a lioness, can be able to take care of a young one of the animal it likes eating? Do we share some things with animals that we may be, out of our prejudice, we feel they don't share? Because I was seeing a movie, a documentary on Adamson in Kenya. He would get lion cubs and bring them up, and when they are grown enough, he will teach them to live in the wild and release them. But whenever he went in the wild, the lions would come to him the way a dog comes to a person. And big as they are, in fact, they would jump around him, he would hug with them, no harm. A lioness was also put in the wild. In fact, it would learn to hunt, it would hunt. But when he went, there was that response. It would recognize. It will show its happiness that it has gone to be visited. So there are some things that God has created in animals and created in us. But because of our prejudicial manner, we feel that they don't have that. I also looked at some other documentary, and it was showing that a dolphin is able to recognize itself in the mirror. Even a gorilla and a baboon. So there are some animals that are capable of almost the same feelings as we do. I just wanted to bring that to the fore. I'm not an expert in that field, but I don't know what the psychologists will say about that. And there are some animals that have empathy just the way we are. Are we created with some animal operating almost on the same basis, but we look down upon their responses? So, conclusively, I may say from my observations, I've seen that some animals can empathize, just like people empathize. Taking the big story of this lioness, they called it Kabunyak, blessing, it was able to empathize, take care of baby oryxes, maybe where the mother has been killed by the wild predators. It had that feeling that you don't have to kill, take care, this is a baby. I think I'll end there. People can give additions, you can critique, but I'm not talking from the expert point of view, but the observational point of view. That's my take on that.